Are you sometimes too direct when you complain or criticize? That doesn't always work here in the United States. Hey, I'm Jason, and this is Jason's Easy English, a podcast that helps you improve your English and learn about American culture with clear, understandable episodes in authentic, everyday language. Today, I'll share a story about my Brazilian friend Renata and what happened when she was a little too direct when complaining in the United States. And we'll talk about how Americans often complain in a more indirect, polite way. A quick reminder, if you enjoy this content, please don't forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, as usual, this story is fictional, but it's based on very real communication differences I've seen many times. Renata came to visit me in the US for the first time. She's confident, honest, and very clear when she speaks. I really admire that. But on her second day here, things got a little uncomfortable. First stop, a restaurant. She ordered a burger. When it arrived, the meat was more cooked than she wanted. Not terrible, but definitely not medium. The waiter came back and asked, "How is everything?" Renata looked at him and said, "This is wrong. The burger is dry. I asked for medium. This is bad." The waiter froze. His smile disappeared. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and quickly walked away. Renata looked at me and said, "What? I'm just being honest." Here's the thing. In the US, when we complain in restaurants, we often use a softer tone. Instead of saying, "This is bad," or "This is wrong," we might say, "Hi, I'm sorry, but I think this might be a little bit overcooked." That phrase, "I think this might be," is like a hedge, right? A hedge is a word or phrase that makes something sound less direct. Americans use hedges all the time when complaining or criticizing. We also say, "I'm sorry," to ease the tension, right? In Portuguese, this would be diminuir a tensão, or in Spanish, reducir la tensión, to ease the tension. So we often say, "Oh, I'm sorry," to ease the tension, even when it's not our fault. Renata said, "But why should I apologize? I didn't cook it." And logically, she's right. But culturally, many Americans care a lot about keeping interactions comfortable. Next situation, the hotel. When we checked in, the room wasn't very clean. There was dust on the desk. Renata went to the front desk and said, "My room is dirty. You need to clean it." The employee looked embarrassed and uncomfortable. In the US, many people use something called a compliment sandwich, which means putting some criticism in between two positive comments. For example, "Hi, the staff here has been really friendly, thank you. I just noticed some dust in the room. Would it be possible to have someone clean it?" Expressions like, "Would it be possible?" help people save face. Saving face is that notion of avoiding embarrassment, maintaining their dignity, right? In Spanish, salvar su imagen, salvar la imagen, or in Portuguese, preservar a dignidade, to save face. So expressions like, "Would it be possible to?" help people to save face. Then came the third situation, returning a product. Renata bought a small kitchen appliance. It stopped working after just 2 days. At the store, she said, "This doesn't work. I want my money back." Clear, direct, concise. Isn't that what we usually associate with American communication? But something's different about complaining or criticizing. Many Americans try to give someone the benefit of the doubt, which means to assume good intentions first. So many times when Americans are about to complain or criticize, they soften it by giving someone the benefit of the doubt. So they might say in a situation like this, "Hi, I bought this a few days ago, and it seems like it stopped working. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Could someone take a look at it?" Now, I want to say something very important here. When we're talking about Brazilian style or Latin style or American style, we're talking about general tendencies, not rules for every person. In Brazil, many people are comfortable expressing complaints directly. But not everyone is like that. Some Brazilians also prefer a softer, more indirect tone, depending on their personality or the situation. And in the United States, even though many people prefer to complain indirectly, there are definitely Americans who are very direct and even rude when they criticize. In some families, workplaces, or regions, people speak very openly and directly. So this isn't about Brazilians are like this and Americans are like that. It's more about what is common in public customer service situations like restaurants, hotels, and stores. In general, direct criticism in the U.S. can come across as harsh. Now, harsh means strong and possibly rude. So many Americans beat around the bush, which means to avoid saying something directly, right? Ficamos enrolando un poco, or in Spanish, andamos con rodeos. We beat around the bush. We don't go directly to the point. After all of this, Renata asked me, "So Americans don't say what they really think?" I said, "Oh, we do. We just wrap it in soft paper first." She laughed. And after that, she didn't change who she was. She just adjusted her tone a little when speaking to servers, to hotel staff, or to store employees. And honestly, when I'm in Brazil, sometimes I have to be more direct. If I'm too indirect in certain situations, people might not realize I'm actually complaining. Different cultures, different expectations. Have you ever had a moment like this in English? All right, I hope that story was interesting and understandable. Before I let you go, let's review the main points of today's episode. Today, we learned that in the U.S., in general, many people use a softer tone or a more indirect method when complaining. They use a hedge phrase like, I think, or maybe, or perhaps, to sound less direct. They may say sorry to ease the tension, even when it's not their fault. We talked about the compliment sandwich, where criticism is placed after or in between positive comments. Americans often try to save face or let the other person save face or avoid embarrassment. Many people also give someone the benefit of the doubt or make clear that they're giving the person the benefit of the doubt before blaming them. And finally, we saw how Americans sometimes beat around the bush instead of speaking directly. But we also learned something important. These are general cultural patterns. Not every Brazilian is direct. Not every American is indirect. Personality and context matter too. All right, that's all I have for this particular lesson. I hope you were able to understand most of the episode and learn something new. Understanding these small communication differences can really help you feel more confident when speaking English in real situations. Be sure to follow or subscribe to my podcast, and please share Jason's Easy English with your friends who are also learning English. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you at the next episode.